everybody, thank you so much for watching. My name is Alexander. I'm a Porsche certified brand ambassador at Champion Porsche in South Florida, and thank you so much for watching my YouTube videos. If you like my YouTube walk around videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. Please hit that like button and feel free to comment down below. You can also contact me directly via cell phone or email with my contact information being in the video description. Today, this YouTube video is very spectacular as we're visiting Champion Motorsport here in Pompano Beach, Florida, to look at some incredible Porsche and Audi vehicles. The main subject in this video is going to be this 992 generation 911 GT3 RS Manthey Racing. This is the first converted 992 generation GT3 RS on display here at the Champion Motorsport facility. Thank you so much for inviting me, of course, to be here and record these amazing vehicles. Right next to it, another very spectacular Porsche. This is a 911 GT3 RS as well, not converted to Manthey Racing specifications, but this is the Tribute Edition, a very limited production run, based off the 2.7 Carrera RS from 1973. So very cool design, features specific only to the Tribute version for the GT3 RS. Also very nice, as these vehicles are side to side, we can see the original specification 992 GT3 RS versus the Manthey Racing converted specification right here in the middle. Champion Motorsport, an incredible racing pedigree. You can see this Audi R10 TDI, Le Mans winner in France, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, of course one of the most famous endurance races in the world. Champion Motorsport specialized in very nice things like wheels, suspension systems, exhaust, engine modifications to be done, and mostly focused on Porsche vehicles, but also open to other vehicles, and of course mostly sports cars. You can see back there also the trophies. Incredible to have that amount of trophies, truly showing the racing pedigree and how successful Champion Motorsport has been in the past, campaigning Audi and also Porsche vehicles. Okay, so let's focus on the Manthey Racing GT3 RS. Again, I mentioned this is the first one to be converted here. Spectacular package. Manthey Racing owned by Porsche by 51%. Now, Manthey Racing as a package first became available in the 991 generation Porsche 911. Of course, was replaced now by the latest generation, the 992. And this package just came out. Again, this is one of the first converted vehicles to Manthey Racing. So in today's video, we're going to focus on the detailed differences between the original specification car and the Manthey Racing. So let's start, of course, with the exterior details first. As you might notice right away, looking at the front fascia of this Tribute version, you can see that the splitter design on this vehicle is quite different to the Manthey Racing specification. And also looking at the side of the vehicle, you can see that there is no canards in the front, while the Manthey Racing version has two canards. So of course, aerodynamics is very important, as high performance driving makes a difference, of course, with different aero. So the canards, of course, create extra downforce on the sides. This is all approved, of course, by Porsche, and as Manthey Racing is part of the equipment program from Porsche. Champion Porsche here in Pompano, also Manthey Racing dealership. So if you currently own a Porsche 911 sports car, feel free to contact Champion Porsche or Champion Motorsport to talk about the Manthey Racing options that are available to you. So again, downforce, of course, in the front, you can see the different splitter design. 50mm longer splitter than the original vehicle, and because this has so much extra downforce, by 20% in total versus the original vehicle, Manthey Racing developed these special struts. So you can imagine the extra pressure that is applied on the front splitter at high speed driving. So these struts are very cool, as they make sure that the splitter stays in the down position at high downforce setting. But if for whatever reason it would get bumped from the bottom, these actually struts can compress, whereby of course the splitter wouldn't crack or break, which keeps the downforce therefore very stable. And again, the canards, as I mentioned earlier, two of them on the Manthey Racing, none of them on the original specification vehicle. Now we cannot see it as the vehicle, of course, is not up in the air, but also on the underbody of the vehicle, the GT3 RS already has many air guidance vanes on the bottom, but for the Manthey Racing specification they add even more vanes, as of course the overall downforce level and the aerodynamic flow around the vehicle is different on the Manthey Racing spec car. Looking at the side of the vehicle, we can see that both of these vehicles are equipped with the lightweight magnesium wheels, finished for the Tribute car in this beautiful green color, again reminiscent of the classic 2.7 RS from 1973. And here on the Manthey Racing vehicle, they're finished in the satin neodyme, the goldest finish. Now magnesium, of course, a very light material, so no changes on the wheels from the stock wheels. As long as they're the magnesium wheels, then we are good for the Manthey Racing conversion. Getting here to the side of the vehicle, you can see definitely a big difference here between the Manthey Racing rear wheel versus the original vehicle. And that is because of the carbon fiber aero discs on the rear wheels. Now many people are confused the reason for the aero disc, but it's actually to clean the aerodynamic flow around the back of the vehicle. You can imagine the air coming here from the front, getting guided around the vehicle, and these aero discs create a cleaner aerodynamic line. And of course that also makes the diffuser and the rear wing more effective and more efficient. Very important with adding downforce, again, which is about 20% more for the Manthey Racing versus the original car, is also aerodynamic drag. And it's amazing how Manthey did it, but the drag coefficient for the Manthey Racing is the exact same as the original vehicle, although 20% downforce was added. Now the original downforce level is already incredible for the car. Again, this is about 20% extra, so you can imagine the incredible lap times that can be done with the Manthey Racing conversion for the GT3 RS. I can see also Champion Motorsport did some very cool designs here on the aero disc. So you can see the gold finish Porsche letters on the outer edge of the aero disc, and then in the middle representing the actual original wheel design. So it almost looks like you're actually looking at the wheel, but it is a beautiful decal developed by Champion Motorsport to represent the same design that is behind the aero disc itself for the actual wheel. Also, the brake lines were changed from the original brake lines from factory to the braided brake lines. You can imagine with high performance driving, the temperatures of the brake fluid and therefore also the expansion of the brake lines tend to change. But then with the Manthey Racing brake lines, that is very different. And also a completely different suspension system. Now, of course, when the 992 generation GT3 RS came out, it was already very impressive from factory what the original suspension system was able to do, especially with the adjustability it can be done from the steering wheel. But a complete new Manthey Racing specification 4-way suspension system developed, retaining, of course, the original buttons on the steering wheel, a complete module to be installed by Champion Porsche to regulate, of course, this 4-way suspension system. And it's all Porsche approved through Porsche equipment and therefore also covered through the Porsche warranty. Okay, let's continue the tour and let's take a look at the roof. Both vehicles have from factory carbon fiber roof. You can see on this specific vehicle, the carbon fiber is exposed. On the Tribute car, the carbon fiber roof is painted. But one of the big aerodynamic difference is these vanes. For the standard car, we have 2 vanes, one on the left and one on the right. But you can see on this one, we have 6 of them. Now, one of the reasons for the vanes on the outer edges is that aerodynamically, with the hot air exits out of the front hood, it tends to be guided, of course, over the roof. And one of the challenges, of course, with these naturally aspirated engines is intake temperatures. And Porsche noticed in the wind tunnel that the hot air coming out of the front hood tends to go into that intake system. And of course, hot air tends to remove performance, horsepower from the engine. So that's the main reason for the outer edges. But of course, with redesigning the wing, the underbody aerodynamics, and also the splitter, Manthey Racing added another few vanes. So now we have 8 in total, all part again of the Manthey Racing specifications. And of course, you can imagine aerodynamic efficiency and again, downforce and how important it is to make that rear wing work in the correct way. Now, one of the most dramatic changes is here the rear. So on the original vehicle, of course, we have the polycarbonate lightweight glass, as we call it. But looking at this vehicle, you can see a solid carbon fiber rear. Of course, this does remove the ability to look through the rear view mirror. And then we have this gigantic shark fin painted by Champion Motorsport in exterior color. Now, the shark fin, of course, mostly seen in Le Mans prototype racing, LMP as they call it back in the day. Also even in Formula 1, especially in the late 2000s, I believe, you saw the shark fin. Now again, an aerodynamic benefit in terms of stability and cornering, and also therefore to make the diffuser and the rear wing have more optimal downforce and efficiency. Now, Champion Motorsport developed a special camera system. So you can see here, just below the shark fin is a camera setup. And now with the digital rear view mirror, we have actual rear view through this rear end here. Let's go from this angle here where you can see the camera setup. So feel free to contact Champion Motorsport regarding this camera system. And of course, all the aerodynamic benefits with the Manthey Racing, but in this case, retaining the ability to have a rear view through the back. Getting here to the design of the rear wing itself. Now, the standard rear wing was already incredible in terms of overall sizing and of course downforce levels. Looking at this vehicle, you can see there's a 2-element rear wing on the Tribute vehicle. Now it of course has active DRS, drag reduction system, so these actuators can make the rear flap, the carbon fiber one, stand up or be flat as it is currently. Now of course when it's flat there's less aerodynamic drag where the air goes through the rear wing, but of course when it stands up then there's more downforce on that rear wing. Now with the Manthey Racing conversion you can see we have quite a different setup where we have 3 elements. In this case it is in the closed position, same actuator here on the rear wing, but now with 3 elements, again a different downforce setup, different efficiency, and as I mentioned earlier, the drag coefficient between this wing and the other one actually the same in overall drag levels, which is just incredible. Look also at the end plates, the size difference between the end plates on the Manthey Racing version versus the original vehicle. Let's do it from this angle. Original sizing and the Manthey Racing. Wow, just incredible. So the shark fin, the solid carbon fiber rear window, the 3-element rear wing, completely different end plates. You can also see these little holes here. Of course, rear wings to work effectively. Very important to get the pressure in the right zone. So aerodynamically, they found out by creating these little holes in the end plates, there's a different pressure buildup here on the lower section of the rear wing, which makes it work more efficiently. And again, this is pure motorsport technology and aerodynamics, of course, for a street legal vehicle. Yes, of course, this is still street legal. Even in the standard setup, of course, Nürburgring lap times well below 7 minutes. But the MR, of course, shaves another big piece of that, depending, of course, on the capability of the drivers. But just such an incredible package to be on a street legal vehicle. Mechanically, the vehicle is the same in terms of course, the engine, naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6, 9,000 RPM redline, well over 500 horsepower. Champion Motorsport, of course, as I mentioned earlier, does offer the ability to make some modifications there to both the exhaust system and the engine. So feel free to contact them directly. I'll make sure the information is in the bio. Okay, then continuing to the rear more on the lower section, where we're going to see completely different diffuser also for the Manthey Racing specification. Again, even the standard diffuser vehicle, not bad, but look at the sizing of this Manthey Racing diffuser. And so cool, of course, then to be around those race cars with aerodynamics and downforce is so important. And now to see a street legal vehicle with this type of diffuser and this size of rear wing is just incredible. This vehicle, again, running a special exhaust system done by Champion Motorsport. So again, feel free to contact them. Incredible sound, of course, from this naturally aspirated 4-liter flat 6. This one, by the way, finished in 0Q white. Again, with the satin finished neodyme wheels. And then the full MR kit. You can also see on the inside some Champion Motorsport changes were made by the roll cage. In this case, we see the metal finished roll cage, the Club Sport as we know it in the European market. But as you might have noticed, in the European market, there's also a carbon fiber roll cage. So let's take a look here at the Tribute vehicle and peek here through the rear window. And yes, there it is. A factory carbon fiber installed roll cage through Champion Motorsport. Again, feel free to contact them directly regarding this. So again, overall, different suspension, different aero, different brake lines, the aero discs on the back, the shark fin. Also the alignment, so the alignment is different versus the stock vehicle. Again, to be even more track focused versus the standard vehicle. Also alignment preferences can be given to the Manthey Champion Porsche dealership in terms of body weight. Aligning, of course, it within Porsche Manthey specifications, just incredible. Vehicle still has a front axle lift system. So in terms of daily drivability, there's very little compromise. Just incredible. Let's have a look on the inside. A few little details there. We can see the side sills in carbon fiber also changed to the Manthey Racing side sills. For the rest, the vehicle, again, except the roll cage in the original specification. And of course, I mentioned earlier the Champion Motorsport rear view mirror setting. I want to thank you for watching this YouTube video on the revised YouTube channel. I am a Porsche certified brand ambassador at Champion Porsche. Today we're visiting Champion Motorsport here at their incredible facility in Pompano Beach. I'll make sure again that all my contact information is on the bottom. I will see you guys in the next video. And thank you so much once again for watching. Bye-bye.